This video is going to be a clip from a previous video I had, number 249, and the whole video was about my taxes. This is just a little clip about a metaphor I created that just kind of explains how I feel about everything. I thought it was kind of funny, so I figured I'd include it in the funny stories section. I'm going to try and just give a little metaphor real quick so everybody can kind of help understand the way my perspective is on all of this. So imagine I wake up on a boat. And this boat is heading away from land. And I look around on the boat, and there are two grizzly bears just destroying this boat. And I'm like, that's bad. There's a couple grizzly bears destroying that. And I look over, and there's, 10 puppies in a box. I'm like, ugh, that's not good. There's some puppies over there too. So I look around on the boat, and there's 100 other people on the boat besides me. And 50 of them are wearing red, and 50 of them are wearing blue. I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, that's kind of crazy. And so I look around, and the grizzly bears are just destroying stuff. And all of a sudden, one guy stands up and he starts talking. And he says, hey, I'm here to help you guys, and I'm going to make sure that I do everything I can to help y'all. And he stands up and he just gives us this big, long speech. And he tells us how he's going to save us from the grizzly bears and save us from all these problems and everything. And so we're like, all right, and we kind of let him lead the way. And he goes and captains the ship, and he turns the ship away from land and just keeps heading out to sea. And I'm standing there going, he should kind of go towards land, because this is kind of a scenario where we might want to go back towards land a little bit, not out into sea, and maybe put ourselves in more jeopardy. And so he gets up there, and once he's up there, you see him go to the back of the boat real quick, and he kind of talks to the grizzly bears for a second. And I'm like, wow, that's weird. And he comes back, and then he starts feeding the grizzly bears and taking all of our food on the boat. And we only got so much food, our rations are kind of getting low. And he starts feeding it all to the grizzly bears. And I'm like, well, that's weird. And then he's not really wanting to feed the puppies as much, and just doing what he can. And so we keep on going out. So then after a while, somebody else stands up, and about 4 minutes later, and they stand up and say, hey, I need elected. This guy's doing it wrong. I'm going to save everybody. I'm going to make it right. I got plans. And so we all elect this guy. And the first guy, he was wearing blue. Second guy's wearing red, or whatever, however you want to flip it, red, blue. And sure enough, he goes back and talks to the grizzly bears again, and comes back, and he's like, oh, well, these grizzly bears are bad or stuff, but I'm going to go ahead and keep feeding them. And we're going to keep heading out into the middle of the ocean. And I'm sitting here going, this is really suspicious. And I'm looking at land, and, I see my house right there and my dog, and all I want is my dog and my house, and I just want to go to land. And so I'm like, man, I just need to go that way. I just want to go that way. And I try to tell people, and they all think I'm crazy. We got to do what these other guys say. And so I'm like, all right, I guess I'm stuck on this boat. So every 4 minutes we choose a leader, and every single time they swear to us that they're going to help stop the boat from sinking, and they have a big plan, and they know how they're going to stop the boat from sinking and guarantee it and get all of our hopes up. And then immediately once we elect them, they turn and they go and they start feeding the bears, which is completely counterproductive. So at this point, I don't believe any of them anymore. I don't have any faith in them, and I have no belief that they're going to do what they say. I just know that they're going to go feed the bears, and that they're going to lie to us and continue to lie to us. So there's no point in me even trying to believe them, because it's a lie every time. And so at what point do I have to give up? And so I'm sitting here realizing that we're in a bad shape, and that the boat is sinking, and that we're all sinking in it, and that there's no option. And so my plan now has become to just go towards land, and to go to my dog and my house and worry about my stuff and figure out however I can get my way to land. So as this is going on, the leaders, they keep blaming us and saying, well, the red people voted this way for the other guy, or the blue people voted, and they keep all the focus on us, and they keep everybody fighting, and nobody ever really stops to look at the people that keep feeding the grizzly bears, and they just keep fighting and blaming each other. And I'm sitting here watching the whole boat break out into chaos, and everybody starts fighting and arguing, and now the boat's still going down because these grizzly bears are just wrecking house, just tearing down the boat. And I'm like, oh man, this is a really bad situation. Everybody's fighting, the boat's sinking, and these grizzly bears are just destroying everything, and I don't know what to do. And I'm looking at land, and I'm just saying, man, I want to go to my dog and my house and just take care of my stuff. I want to get to land land and off this crazy boat and just go to shore and take care of my stuff. And that's all I want. I just want to be left alone and get away from this madness. And every 4 minutes, we just keep electing people, and we keep getting further and further out, and the grizzly bears just keep wrecking house until the boat is all but sinking. And at this point, I got to decide on whether to swim to shore and risk it that way, or to stay on the boat while it sinks. And so that's basically what I'm doing at this point. I am swimming to shore, and I'm pulling all stops, and I'm letting loose, and I'm trying to lead others and tell others, let's swim to shore. Please, let's swim to shore. And in this scenario, shore is localism to me, to locally in the community. And that's all we can control. That's all we can do. If we were self-sufficient as a community and put our arms around each other and lifted each other up and could feed ourselves and provide our own energy, we would be fine through any disaster or anything that the world throws at us. And I think that is the key to everything, is trying to be self-sufficient as soon as possible. Right here where we're standing. Just don't care about any of that other stuff. Go out into your communities and help the people in your community. Do anything to start helping people, and it will manifest. Everyone will start doing it, and it will reach out and grow, and it will be a great thing. And so do everything you can to build your community up. And that's what I'm trying to say in this scenario. And from there, the rest, the grizzly bears, in case you haven't figured it out, are going to be the military industrial complex, which is the number one thing our taxes go to. And it's a terrible thing that's happening in the world, and I won't fund it. And I think the outcome of all these wars is more power for the people that are manipulating us. And it's a perpetual cycle that we are digging down worse and worse by giving them more power to control us more. And at some point, we have to stop. We have to stop and just turn around and walk away and do what's best for humanity, and do what's best for our communities, and do what's best for life in general. And so that is the number one grizzly bear that's tearing it up. The other thing is the Federal Reserve. They're manipulating our dollar, they're controlling our financial system, and they're wrecking it. And they're helping their buddies, and they're controlling the system on such a massive level, it's incomprehensible. So we have to figure out a way to overcome that. The puppies were the government organizations, the entities that are like Medicaid, stuff like that. Those are small in comparison to the grizzly bears that are just destroying stuff. So the grizzly bears would be the military and the Federal Reserve, and the puppies are going to be welfare, EPA, education system, things like that. The puppies do drain on us, and they are hard to take care of. They're a pain in the butt to take care of, but there's a positive to them. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily a bad thing. So we don't want to end those per se, but we definitely want to give the people the ability to fund them still, if you will. So just openly get a puppy if you want. I personally don't want really any puppies. I like my puppy at home, and I'm going to focus on him. If I notice that one of them is starving or something, I may, throw a bone out there and be like, here you go. Here's some dog food for you, puppy. You're starving. And if it's a puppy that I think's a good dog, if there's dogs out there biting people, I may not, which might be like the CIA and stuff like that, I'm probably not going to ever fund that. That might be a puppy that might have to just be fend for itself, or I won't be contributing to it. But I don't mind funding to the roads and to the disability program and things like that. There's just I wish there was a competitive market. I think that the free market is always the answer to everything. And without a free market, the government can manipulate the systems. We can voluntarily contribute to a sector of a government, and then each department have a competitive free market inside of it. And from there, the free market will dictate that certain forms will be more efficient, and the most efficient is always going to win, and the best ideas will flourish, instead of letting money flourish and robbing us to just let everybody waste the money. And that logically doesn't make any sense. It's a recipe for disaster. So tighten the belt, let the free market run, and continue to have all of these programs, and just make it to where we can voluntarily contribute to them, and they work from the budgets we give them. It's really so simple. It doesn't have to be this complex and so chaotic. And like I said, I think they're doing it on purpose to try and make the system go down. This is the answer. This is the answer, is the free market and letting the people decide through freedom. Freedom is always the answer to everything. That's the answer to fix all of this whole mess we're in. I tell a funny story once a week to just try and encourage a little positivity in this world. I appreciate everybody for keeping up and following along. Thanks a lot, guys.